Hi, my name is John Alzheimer, and I'm a credit expert who contributes to creditcardinsider.com. If you have any questions for us, then please submit them in the comments section below. So today's question comes to us from YouTube user Hanny from Chicago. And Andy's question is, do installment lenders care about high FICO scores and low utilization? Is there a problem with having a high credit limit? Is that a negative sign to them? So a couple of things. What is an installment lender? An installment lender is a lender who issues installment loans, and an installment loan is any loan where there is a fixed payment for a fixed period of time. So for example, mortgage loans are installment loans, auto loans, personal loans, student loans, boat loans. Those are all installment loans. For example, a car loan, you may have a payment of $300 for the next 48 months, fixed payment, fixed period of time. So that's an installment loan. Most banks issue installment loans. So the question is do they care about high FICO scores? Of course they do. All lenders care about credit scores, FICO scores, Vantage scores. They want customers who have a low probability of defaulting. And the credit score is a sign or gives them insight as to the probability that you are going to either make your payments on time or whether or not you're going to be a problem for them and are going to miss payments. And so all lenders care about having high FICO scores or low FICO scores, for example. What about low utilization? And what Hanny is referring to, utilization, is a technical term in the credit industry, actually in the credit scoring industry, that defines the relationship between the balances on your credit cards and the credit limits on your credit cards. And essentially what happens is the balances are divided by the limits and multiplied by 100, and that yields a percentage. So if you have a credit card with a $1,000 limit and a $500 balance, then you are 50% utilized on that card. That's where the term utilization comes from in the world of credit scoring. So the question is having a high credit limit a negative sign to them? And the assumption is that because you have such a high credit limit, you could actually go out and incur a very large amount of debt in a small period of time. So are lenders concerned about that? It's interesting. That question has been around for decades. And it assumes that just because you have a high credit limit that eventually you're going to use it all. That phenomenon, believe it or not, doesn't really happen that often. It's actually empirically proven that people who have high credit limits and low balances relative to those limits are much less likely to go delinquent, go into default, and get into excessive debt than people who have lower credit limits and higher balances relative to those lower limits, or higher utilization percentages, as we talked about a minute ago. And so while sure, it's a possibility that anyone can go out today and max out all their credit cards, that's just not something that generally happens. Something in your life has to change drastically for you to do something silly like that, like you lose your job and you have to live off credit cards for a few months, or something else happens where you need emergency funds and the only thing that you have at your disposal are a bunch of credit cards. But generally speaking, in the normal course of life, consumers do not all of a sudden wake up one morning and snap and go out and max out their credit cards. And so if you are running into lenders that are concerned that you have high credit limits and aren't underwriting loans for you because of that, go somewhere else, because that is an unreasonable expectation to believe someone should have low credit limits, when in reality is that all the science suggests that they're a better credit risk when they have high credit limits. So if you're running into a lender that's problematic like that, there are many lenders that are within the same zip code that will gladly do business with you. So if you have any other questions pertaining to credit or other financial topics, then please submit them to creditcardinsider.com or in the comment section below. Have a nice day.